It's a big-time showdown in Lincoln this weekend. The Big Ten season opener for Michigan and Nebraska, a game that will air on CBS Saturday at 3:30. The Cornhuskers have not beat the Wolverines since 2013. Nebraska, though, was 3-0 on the year, but this game against the 21st ranked team in the country will be their biggest test to date. The QB showdown of Bryce Underwood and Dylan Raiola will be one to monitor, but when you look at their numbers so far this year, it's not really much of a comparison. It is Raiola clearing in almost every single category. You see that 76.6% completion percentage compared to 57.5 for Underwood, which is last in the Big Ten. Raiola's second best completion percentage, and that passer yardage at 829, second most in the conference. Taking the convo a few steps further now, we bring in Sam Webb, who covers Michigan for 247 Sports, and Michael Bruntz, who covers Nebraska, also for 247. And it's two big-name QBs dueling this Saturday. And Michael, on paper, as we just showed, it certainly seems like it's Dylan Raiola who is leading the way, has the upper hand, and is just the second Big Ten QB since 2000 with 75% completion percentage, compared to no interceptions, TD interception rate through 3 games.
He's just been efficient. I mean, there's really no magic there. Nebraska's really tasked him with running that offense. He's gotten Nebraska in a lot of good running plays in addition to what he's doing with his arms, and just seems like a much more comfortable quarterback in his second year at the helm here. He kind of took his lumps last year. The 13-11 touchdown to interception ratio last year was a little bit rough, but you're just seeing him play confident football this year. I think one thing that's helped, certainly the level of competition hasn't been huge the last couple weeks, but even against Cincinnati in the opener, he just took what Cincinnati was giving him and just kept the offense moving on schedule. He's probably going to have to make a couple big throws in this game. The one thing that's a little bit different for Nebraska this year, offensively, they've just gotten a lot better around him with Dane Keene, Isaiah Hunter, and Ja'Cory Barney in the wide receiver spots. So this is going to be a big test for him and an opportunity to kind of show his growth as a quarterback on a national stage.
So then, Sam, on the other side, you look at Bryce Underwood, who at least looked like he was playing more free and just able to have the reins unleashed from him potentially against Central Michigan. How does he take that from last week now into Big Ten play?
Yeah, Zach, I think it's a great question. They played against Central Michigan like I thought they were going to play against Oklahoma. And again, different caliber opponent, mind you. I think we all know that. But I'm talking about just in terms of approach. They didn't run Bryce Underwood against Oklahoma at all. And conversely, Oklahoma ran John Mateer 19 times. Michigan came out the next week, and it was like they had seen the blueprint. It's like, okay, we need to do that. And I think there's a realization that in order for them to realize maybe the potential of this offense, they need to lean on Bryce Underwood more. They need to put more on his plate. In order for them to run the football like they want to run it, they were going to have to run Bryce Underwood and not necessarily put all that pressure on the offensive line. And it worked out great. I mean, the design quarterback runs worked really well to great effect. And then the improv runs. And this is another, I think, big coaching point last week. And it's going to be a big one this week, Zach. And that is, when in doubt, whether you're feeling a little uneasy about the rush or you're questioning coverage, where to go with the football, when in doubt, run the ball. I think that is going to be the edict this week on the road at Nebraska.
So let's see who you guys think will have the bigger impact between those two QBs. And Michael, I'll go to you first.
Yeah, I mean, I think I could see Underwood having a little bit of a bigger impact for what Michigan's doing offensively. Like Sam said, I mean, I think that was another dynamic with his legs last week that, Nebraska's going to have to account for defensively. You look at the opener, Cincinnati quarterback Brendan Sorsby in the second half was basically just playing backyard football. If the first read wasn't there, he was taking off running. And Nebraska defensively had a lot of trouble handling that and also kind of the mix of tempo. So I'm sure Michigan saw that. I'm expecting to see, Michigan try to take advantage of Nebraska's struggles in the opener to stop that. But, for Nebraska, Dylan Raiola just has to continue to play efficient football. He's going to have to make a couple throws in this game. But I do think, the decision making has improved. I think having a full off season with Dana Holgorsen as offensive coordinator has been huge in his development and just kind of expecting what Nebraska needs him to be offensively. So, I do think, though, that Underwood's ability to run is certainly an X factor in this game, and Nebraska is going to have to deal with that defensively and show that they can really handle that, which they didn't do in the opener against Cincinnati.
Yeah, I think that is a great point. I think the Sorsby comp, at least as far as how effective he was running the football, is going to resonate with Michigan. It's certainly how he did last week against Central Michigan, with how decisive he was and how that sort of bled over into the rest of his game. I think that's going to play into it too. So he is absolutely going to be a huge part of their running effort. I think you'll see him run it 7 to 10 times. Both on design runs and then on improv plays. And then the question will be, can he take care of the football on the road? Because I think they will be able to run it effectively by injecting him into the equation. But can he avoid what Sorsby didn't avoid at the end of that game? And I was watching that game. He looks down the middle of the field, and he had predetermined that he was gonna throw that fade ball. No matter what, he was gonna throw that ball. That's where he was gonna go with it, and it was not open. Can Bryce Underwood, can he avoid that kind of mistake in this game? Because they'll run it effectively enough. He'll just have to take advantage of the plays that are there through the air. If he does that, I think they can be successful.
So, Michael, if you are Nebraska and you have to worry about, okay, we need to slow down that dual threat ability of Bryce Underwood, but no, they have so many other pieces on that offense. How do they focus on slowing down Michigan when they have the rock in totality?
Yeah, I think when you look at the way Nebraska's defense is built this year, the strength is certainly in the secondary. And they've returned a lot of veterans in that group. They've held every opponent this year under 70 yards passing. They've been opportunistic with turnovers when they've had the chance. And, I think what they've done this year is really kind of rely on those guys to back there in the back end to shut down opposing wide receivers, or at least limit them, and then kind of focus their efforts on trying to stop the run. Certainly Michigan's going to be a much different opponent in that regard than what Nebraska's faced this year. But I think a big question mark coming into the season was how Nebraska's front seven was going to hold up without Ty Robinson and Nash Hutmaker, who were huge pieces of that defensive line the last couple of years. Nebraska's going to rotate a lot of guys up front. They're going to have to win at the point of attack and get off blocks and tackle well. I mean, I think that's going to be the name of the game for Nebraska is, can you get enough guys to the ball carrier and get them on the ground when it matters? And, the one thing I think that'll kind of help this defense, though, it's a home game. It's probably the biggest game of the year for Nebraska. You guys just flashed the graphic of when the last time Nebraska beat a ranked opponent was. It's been 2016 against Oregon. That's how long it's been. So I think the defense is playing confidently. I think they'll be helped by being at home, but they've got to be able to tackle well, and they've got to be able to do what they can to stop the run.
Yeah, Matt Rule, overall, as the head coach, has never had a ranked win as the head coach of Nebraska. Didn't have one at Baylor. Have to go back all the way until Temple to find him as a head coach getting a ranked win. Speaking of head coaches, we will not see Sharon Moore for the second straight week as he serves game 2 of that 3-game suspension with a 3rd game to spill over into next season. So, Sam, I think it's easy to get by without your head coach against a lower opponent like Central Michigan last week, but now you get Nebraska. You get them on the road. Will his absence be felt?
I think it will be. I think that his presence on the sideline is a source of calm, is a source of confidence. I think that he has led them in really adversity-laden scenarios in the past. In the championship year at Penn State, at Ohio State, last year. Or against Ohio State the championship year, and at Ohio State last year. So that will be missed, but you got a veteran coaching staff. I think the experience at Oklahoma will help the players on this team that are young. So I think they'll be fine. And really, it's about Bryce. And so having been in that situation before, and I think being empowered to be a little more of himself and using more of his ability and talent to play more free, like you said, Zach, to run the football when in doubt. I think Those are the kind of things that'll mitigate pressure and mitigate the absence of his coach and allow him to just go out there and play football.
We've had the build-up all the way to this moment right here. It lets me be able to ask you this, Michael, first. Who wins on Saturday?
Yeah, I'm expecting a four-quarter brawl type game. I mean, I think that's, what this kind of lines up to. I've kind of had this, looking at this game, I think Nebraska might be able to do enough to, maybe confuse the freshman quarterback a little bit. I think that's one thing that Nebraska's done okay to this point is really mass coverages and pressures. So I'll give Nebraska a slight edge being at home. I mean, I think it's going to be like a 24-21 type game either way, but I think Nebraska somehow finds a way to get it done in spite of their recent history in these types of games.
So I think, for Michigan on defense, they'll have their best defensive player for all four games, or all four quarters, which they didn't have down at Oklahoma, and that's Jayshon Barham. He'll make a huge difference. He played edge last week and was huge coming off the edge. I think that'll be big in this game. So I think they'll be able to get heat on the quarterback. I think that'll be a big factor in this game. Then on offense, again, the coverage piece to me is not as big of an issue. Is how do they react to the opportunities that they're going to get down the field? Because Nebraska is, to me, in my opinion, they're going to say, we're going to stop them from running the football. We're going to stop Bryce Underwood from running the football. And can you beat us down the field? Can you hit big plays down the football field? Can he take advantage of those opportunities when he gets them? And can they move the chains consistently on the ground? I think they're going to be able to, based on their experience down there after Oklahoma. I got Michigan winning a tight game.
What's the score on that one, though, Sam?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a low-scoring affair as well. I got Michigan winning this game. I'll go 27-21.
27-21, says Sam, with Michigan winning it. Meanwhile, Michael says 24-21, Nebraska. We look forward to this coming Saturday. Sam Webb, Michael Bruntz, thank you so much for helping us break down this game as we get ready to watch it on CBS at 3:30. The crew will be there. We will be excited to watch it. It's also, of course, streaming on Paramount+. The Big Ten season opener from Michigan and Nebraska. You hear the music, you know the place to find it. Saturday, CBS.